Today we're going to learn how to find the tax, tip, and discount of a certain situation. Now we've done some of these problems in the past, but today we're really going to break it down and explain kind of the steps to take to solve these problems. All right, we're going to start off with tax and tip. Okay, to find the amount of the tax and tip in dollars, you convert the percent to a decimal and then multiply. Okay, let's just review to find the decimal of a percent. Let's say we have 25%. The decimal in 25, think of $25 as after that 5. We move it to the left twice to make it 0.25. Now you do not need this 0 when multiplying because it's just going to add an extra placeholder, and the 0 for the decimal is not super important where we need to write it. Okay, so we can kind of drop that off to be like a 0.25 as well. Okay. So that's how we would find the dollar amount of a tax and tip. Okay, but to calculate the total cost, you would then add, this is important, the amount of the tax and tip to the original cost. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is find out the amount of money that tax or tip is, and then we're going to add it to the original cost. Because for tip, it's money that you're adding to your bill to give to the waiter, waitress, or whatever the situation is. And then the tax is something that the state makes you pay, and you have to add it to what your original cost was. Okay, so that you're paying the state that much money. All right. So let's go through some examples. Gregory's parents took his family out to dinner at Golden Corral. His parents wanted to give the waiter a 15% tip. If the amount of the dinner was $45, what should be paid to the waiter as a tip? All right, so our very first thing we want to do is find the amount of the tax and tip. Okay, so we're going to convert that 15% to a decimal. Decimal comes after the 5, move it to the left. This becomes 0.15. We're going to multiply it by the original cost, which is 45. Again, we can drop off these zeros because they're after the decimal and does not change the value. 45 is the same thing as $45.00. Okay, so we're just going to multiply. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. Now we're moving on over to the tens place, so we add our placeholder, cross off our remainder. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. We add them up. This gets us 675. Now this is the biggest mistake I saw us making on our percent project, was when we added that decimal back in. So we look up here, okay, we have 2 decimal places in 0.15, and then we have none in 45, so we go 1, 2, and we make this a $6.75 tip. Okay, then they ask what the family's total cost would be. Okay, and to calculate the total cost, you add the amount of the tax or tip to the original cost. Well, the original bill for his family is $45. Okay, and we're going to add in the amount of our tip, which is $6.75. 5 plus 0 is 0, or sorry, 5 plus 0 is 5, 7 plus 0 is 7, 5 plus 6 is 11, 4 plus 0 is 4, plus 1 is 5. We should get a final answer of $51.75. Okay, that's how you would solve a tip problem. Let's try tax. It's the same exact idea, it's just a different concept. Okay, so Kaden buys a new MP3 player for a price of $42.75. We want to know what is the total amount his credit card will be charged if the sales tax is 7%. Okay, so here the steps are not broken up into A and B. We have to do all of those steps just to answer this one question. All right. So first thing you have to do is make 7% into a decimal. Decimal comes after the 7, so we go 1, 2, put our decimal place fill with a 0. Right, so our decimal for 7% is 0.07. Now our two numbers are $42.75 and 0.07. I always like to put the bigger number on top when multiplying because it makes it less work for you. When you put the bigger number on bottom, you just have to multiply 4 different rows. It just gets to be a lot of work. Okay, so it just makes it easier to organize your work if you put the number with the most digits on top. Now this 0 we cannot drop out, okay, because it's in between the decimal and another number. You can't drop out a 0 that's in between something. If it's at the end, you can drop it out, or if it's at the beginning, you can drop it out, but not if it's in the middle, okay? All right, so we take 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 7 is 49, plus 3 is 52. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 5 is 19. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 1 is 29. Move on over to the 0, so we add a 0 placeholder. 0 times 5, 0 times 7, 0 times 2, 0 times 4. Those are all going to be 0. All right, now we add back in that decimal. We look up to our problem, and we see 2 decimal places in this number, 2 decimal places in this number, so we should have 2 plus 2 is 4 decimal places in our answer. Okay, now this is not a dollar amount, right? Dollar amounts end after having 2 numbers for the cents. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut it off after that second number, okay, after the decimal, so $2.99. We're going to look to this number to know whether to round this up or not. If it's a 5 or higher, round up. If it's a 4 or less, keep it the same. Okay, so this is a 4 or less, so we keep this 9 a 9. So this sales tax amount is going to be $2.99. Okay. Now, since these are notes, I'm writing this all out. On a test, you wouldn't have to label it that's the sale tax. I would understand that. Okay, that's not what the question asks. The question did not ask how much is he paying for tax. It asks how much will his credit card be charged total. Okay, so with tax, we add it back in. So we are going to take our original price, which is $42.75, and add in our sales tax of $2.99. 9 plus 5 is 14. 9 plus 7, well, I grouped together my 1 and my 9 to make it a 10, plus 7 is 17. When we're adding decimals, we line up our decimals and just drop it down. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 4 plus nothing is 4. Our total cost, or the cost that his credit card will be charged, is $45.74. Okay, so that is how we solve tax and tip problems. All right, we're now going to move on to discounts. Discounts is very similar, but there is a slight change when we're finding how much we're paying at the end. Okay, so to find the amount of the discount in dollars, you convert the percent to a decimal and then multiply. All right. However, to calculate the total cost, you subtract, this is important, the amount of the discount from the original cost. Okay, so a discount is something that you're getting money off of. This is like when a store has a sale or something, okay? They're offering a discount. Maybe it's 20% off. Maybe it's $10 off. The discounts that we're going to worry about are percent discounts, obviously, because it's in our percent unit. But it's getting money off, so you're paying less money, which is awesome. Discounts are great. Okay, but that's why we have to subtract, is because the amount that we're going to pay is going to be less than what it would originally cost us. Okay, so for example, Target is selling jeans at 15% off the regular price. The regular price is $35 per pair, just means for one pair of jeans. What is the discount amount? Okay, so again, our first step is going to take 15% and make it into a decimal so we can multiply. Move it over twice. This becomes 0.15. And we are multiplying that by 35, which is the price for a pair of jeans. So we want to take 15% of that $35. Okay, and then we want to take it off. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. Moving on over to that 3, we add a 0 placeholder. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. We're going to add them up. 5 plus 0 is 5. 5 plus 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 4 plus 1 is 5. Last step, thing that lots of us make mistakes on, adding back in that decimal. 2 decimal places there, none here, so we have 2 in our answer. The discount amount is what the question is asking for, so $5.25 is our answer. Okay, then the next part asks for the price that you're going to pay. All right, so I'm going to do this in a different color. Let's do this in purple. Okay, now for discounts, we subtract it from the original price. So the original price goes first. So we have $35.00. And we have to subtract $5.25. Again, when we add and subtract decimals, we have to line up those decimals. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my decimal in there and then fill in my numbers. I cannot take away 5 from 0. Think about if you have 0 cookies, I cannot take 5 cookies away from you because you don't have 5 cookies to start with, right? So we're going to have to do some borrowing, but we can't borrow from a 0, so we jump on over to this 5. Make that a 4 in order to make this a 10. Now we can borrow from that 10, make it a 9 in order to make our first 0 a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 2 is 7. 4 minus 5, again, we cannot do that. We cannot take away 5 if you only have 4. Make it a 2, make it 14. 14 minus 5 is 9. 2 minus 0 is 2. Our total price is going to be $29.75. Okay, discounts, your answer should be smaller than what that original price is. So that's a good check whether or not you are doing your math correctly. If you get a number that's bigger than the original price, you know you made a mistake somewhere. Okay, so that's always just a good little check for you. All right. Last example. A store is having a sale where everything is discounted 40%. Find the sale price if a customer buys an item that normally sells for $325. Okay, so this sounds like it would be like a Black Friday sale because that is a lot of a discount to be given. Okay, first thing we have to do is make 40% into a decimal. Makes it 0.40. We have 325 that has more digits, so I want to put that on top. I have my 5 times 0 is 0, 2 times 0 is 0, 3 times 0 is 0. Moving on over to that 4, so I add my 0 placeholder. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 2 is 8, 9, 10. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Add those up. Go back up to my problem. I say how many decimals do I have? I have 1, 2, so I have 1, 2. This becomes $130 is our discount. Okay, so my discount okay, but again, this question does not ask for the discount, it asks for the sale price. Okay, so we need to find what that total cost to that customer would be. All right, in order to do that, we subtract it from its original cost. So we are looking for what that sale price is. We will come back to that. I'm doing another color just in case it kind of bleeds in with this other work. All right, so I have $325. Remember, the original item always comes first. And we are subtracting the discount of $130. This is a nicer of a subtraction problem than we had before. 0 minus 0, 0. 0 minus 0, 0. When we line up our decimals, we just bring it down. 5 minus 0 is 5. We cannot take away 3 from 2, so we have to borrow in order to make it a 12. 12 minus 3 is 9. 2 minus 1 is 1. What this means is that our sale price for this item is going to be $195. And that would be our final answer for part A. Right. We just have one more part, and then we are done with our notes for today. If there's an 8% sales tax, what is your total cost? Okay, so first thing we do is find the decimal over 0.08 looks like that's what it would be. Okay, our price is $195. Now we can cut off those zeros because they're after the decimal. There's no other numbers, so it's just 195, and we can multiply that by 0.08. Again, we cannot drop out this 0 because it's in between the decimal and another number. It's not at one of the ends. Okay, so we cannot just drop it off. 5 times 8 is 40. 9 times 8 is 72, plus 4 is 76. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 7 is 15. Now I'm moving on over to my 0, so I added 0 placeholder. 0 times 5, 0. 0 times 9, 0. 0 times 1, 0. Add them up. Now I'm going to run into my summary a little bit. 0 plus 0, 0. 6 plus 0, 6. 5 plus 0, 5. 1 plus 0, 1. Alright. Now we add in our decimal. 1, 2. There's none up here. 1, 2. We have a discount, or sorry, a tax of $15.60. Okay, but it asks what your total cost is. It doesn't ask how much are you paying in tax. So we have to do what with our tax amount? Well, we have to add it, okay, to our cost that we're paying. So we're not going to add it to $325 because that's not how much you're paying. Okay, you get taxed on the amount of what you are going to pay. Okay, and we're going to pay only $195. So we're going to add $195 to $15.60, making sure that I'm lining up my decimals when I add so that I can just drop down that decimal. I should have 60 cents. 5 plus 5 is 10. 9 plus 2 is 11. 1 plus 1 is 2. Alright, so all in all, with my sales tax, my discount, everything accounted for, we are going to end up paying $210.60, which is still a very good deal for an item that costs $325. Okay, so that is more in depth of how you find a tax tip or a discount. So just make sure that you keep these notes. We'll be practicing this for the next 2 days. As always, if you have any questions, just let me know. Make sure to write your summary down at the bottom, explaining how to find a tax tip or discount. Maybe describe how tax and tip are different from a discount because you add instead of subtract.